Everyone, this is James of pandirasbox. This is another video for our buddy Questio Proverum, who ever since me and Yusuf proved him wrong on the crucifixion hasn't been around very much. Um, that's interesting. I'm going to show another passage that whips his ass. Get ready for this. This is in the book of Joshua. This is in the New American Catholic Bible. It says in Joshua 7. Trying to see where I have it here. Oh, Joshua 7:29. It says, "He had the king of Ai hanged on a tree until evening. Then at sunset, Joshua ordered the body removed from the tree and cast at the entrance of the city gate, where a great heap of stones was piled up over it, which remains to the present day." Hanged on a tree. He's talking about crucifixion. That's what they called it. This is the idea too that when Jesus was hanged on the tree, it was the new tree of life, and the fruit that came from that tree of life was his body and blood. That's been used as well, calling him the new tree of life. When we go into this, we can say, look at the execution of the Amorite kings. This is really interesting. This is in Joshua 10. And sorry, that was actually 8:29, not 7:29. The execution of the Amorite kings is in 10:16. It says, "Meanwhile, the 5 kings who had fled hid in a cave at Makkedah. When Joshua was told that the 5 kings had been discovered hiding in a cave at Makkedah, he said, 'Roll large stones to the mouth of the cave and post men over it to guard them. But do not remain there yourselves. Pursue your enemies and harry them in the rear. Do not allow them to escape to their cities, for the Lord your God has delivered them into your power.' Once Joshua and the Israelites had finally inflicted the last blows in this very great slaughter, and the survivors had escaped from them into the fortified cities, all the army returned safely to Joshua and the camp at Makkedah, no man uttering a sound against the Israelites. And Joshua said, 'Open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 kings to me.' Obediently they brought out to him from the cave the 5 kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Yarmouth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had done so, Joshua summoned all the men of Israel and said to the commanders of the soldiers who had marched up with him, 'Come forward and put your feet on the necks of these kings.' They came forward and put their feet upon their necks. And Joshua said to them, 'Do not be afraid or dismayed. Be firm and steadfast. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies against whom you fight.' Thereupon Joshua struck and killed them and hanged them on 5 trees. He killed them before he hanged them, and hung them on 5 trees, where they remained hanging until evening. At sunset they were removed from the trees at the command of Joshua and cast into the cave where they had hidden. Over the mouth of the cave large stones were placed, which remain until this very day." There you go. Jesus was killed the same way. So there's no proof for ancient crucifixion, right? Being done the way it was done to Jesus. Couldn't possibly be. But yet it's there in the book of Joshua, which is at least from the 3rd century BC, according to documentary hypothesis and all this other nonsense. But whatever book that came from pre-existed it and had been around for a very long time. Considering it talks about cities that we have found, those five of those cities, actually a lot of like 30 cities from that book have been found to be accurately described in archaeology as well. You know, the burning of them and everything um, matches. So the destructive path of Joshua very well exists. It's debated whether it was really him that did it or a bunch of people, but nonetheless, Joshua's book is recording real incidents that really happened. Whether they're accurate or not really makes no difference. It shows that the practice of crucifixion was around at that time, and that sieges were being done on those cities, and that idols were being destroyed. Those are things that are facts in the book of Joshua. Those are 100% undisputed facts. You can't even argue with them. It's impossible. Archaeologically impossible to argue with. Anyway, peace be upon you. Have a good one.